Turn to ban. Evil geniuses turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Evil geniuses turn to pick.
Faceless Void.
Complexities turn to pick.
Everybody, welcome back. It's ready for more MDL LAN action. We have 4 more best of 3s for you. Playoff time. We unfortunately aren't going to be in the exciting atmosphere that's happening overseas right now, but I can tell you the players are hyped up and it's getting pretty damn intense.
I feel like it's only fitting, you know, we're here in North America. We are going to have an imposter North American team, the Swedes from Complexity. No, they do NA Dota proud. They'll be facing Evil Geniuses as, you know, I would have said Dakota heavy underdogs. I still think they are underdogs, but EG has looked vulnerable at this tournament.
Yeah, it's been a bit questionable as far as if they've been able to find their groove with 6.86. They've easily adopted like the Earth Spirit, let's say, for Fear, but outside of that, they've been trying to roll forward with like their Lycan plays, but it's definitely been running into its problems here and there. A lot of sweet stories, though, between these two, I gotta say. The Swindle Melons versus PPD matchup is always a tasty treat. I'm looking forward to it.
We actually do have a draft underway, so let's get into it before any more picks happen. Look at this!
This is a Complexity draft.
The Disco Pony! And right away, the Swindle Enchantress. Now, I did have a chance to spend a lot of time with Swindle when we were over at the Star Ladder event in Belarus, and my god, he is like a Jehovah's Witness Enchantress preacher. You just can't shut him up about the hero, and we have seen him stay true to his word at this event. Nothing but praise for the hero before the event, and now nothing but picking it, even the first phase
so
pick
who,
here at the event.
Who is really responsible for this mess? Enchantress off lane. I mean, it pioneers back to Bulba pulling it out. IX Mike has been...
But I'm not sure who actually came up with it originally.
I remember one of its very first appearances was back... Was it all the way at TI where they pulled it out against VG Gaming? EG pulling it out against VG Gaming to kind of counter the Bounty Hunter. I feel like it was one of those games where Bounty Hunter couldn't have an easy target on Enchantress, so
well, I think they ran it
Universe.
As a jungle. They ran it for Universe?
I think they ran it for Universe, I'm pretty sure.
Huh. Was that in the group stage or was it in the main event? I do not remember that in the main event. Okay.
Group stage.
Huh.
So, well, look at this. EG also really diving right into 6.86 here. We haven't seen a whole lot of Western teams put a lot of priority into it, but here we're seeing EG go first grab Faceless Void. What do you think about the hero personally? When I was doing the Chinese qualifier, it was always first pick, first ban worthy for them, and then on the Western scene, they seem to kind of be holding off on it a little bit.
He's amazing against the right lanes. Like, if you don't have incredible chain stun or a really strong silence, you're just not killing that hero in the off lane. And, I mean, frankly, none of the, like, I'd say 98% of the drafts that I've seen, like, they have no chance of killing a Void early on. They can maybe harass him a bit, but he's, like, guaranteed to get his levels, doesn't really need help. So I think in that sense he's good. Obviously, he brings very little damage to the table nowadays, and we see Voids tend to build very utility. So if you want to go Void, you need those super heavy damage stars, which is what Complexity bans out here. The Zeus, the OD, Folk are still available, something EG have been running quite a bit of. They're actually going to ban the pushing heroes, the Lone Druid and the Lycan, and I think that's a good choice here. Complexity already showing the Enchantress Slash. They can push pretty hard to begin with. They aren't going to commit to it, though. They do go back for the Kunkka.
Kunkka seems like an interesting grab. I mean, I know from personal experience, he's very good against Earth Spirit. You know, it's not an easy getaway when you have the X kind of there at the ready. But if you were kind of going down that road, why not consider something like a Disruptor who has the glimpse plus the crowd control capability of something like a Static Storm? Is there some sort of uniqueness that you think that maybe this Kunkka is just going to be applied by Complexity, or they feel like, the same way DC are?
I like him for sustaining pushes, because you can just, X the hero, they TP home, they get the quick heal up, and then they come right back to the fray.
That's true.
And Complexity does look like they want to push early, so it adds some nice sustain to your draft. Also, really good, I think, to have the boat versus the Void. He drops the Chrono, and it doesn't even matter if you hit a good boat, just getting the buff on your team so they live through the Chronosphere to me is very important. So I think Kunkka adds something unique that Disruptor doesn't necessarily bring to the table.
This is also one of those times I've been like, why don't teams just consider grabbing more of the Silencer, especially with this new era of Earth Spirit? I feel like he's one of the best counters to him, and we know a Silencer would be very good against Faceless Void. He jumps in, pops the bubble, and
instantly global.
Hit that R button, and next thing you know, they're going to ruin the whole team fight. And that new Curse is very nice against high spellcasters like the Earth Spirit. So, I feel like it's something that still needs to consider being dusted off a bit.
I know some people have been saying that they think Silencer can actually take on Death Prophet mid, because you can keep your distance and really punish her for going for the Siphon aggression. But
who was it? Inflame was the one person who was pioneering the mid lane. Silencer in the Chinese qualifier. He would also max Curse early just to really hit him harder.
That's just sadistic, honestly.
It was fun to watch.
So EG get the Lina here. One last thing worth mentioning is these bans were very targeted in Phase 1. Like banning Batrider and Darkseer. Those are, some teams have been prioritizing Darkseer. VG Game, or LGD rather, comes to mind with RTK. But in general, Void Earth Spirit, those are two heroes that I've seen a lot of teams spend both of their bans to remove from the pool. So Complexity went with very targeted, EG specific bans, whereas look at EG, just banning IO and Venge. Those are just really strong supports in this patch, and they pretty much always ban IO anyway. So AA now grab more damage to dump in the Chronosphere, which is, as well as a good way to slow down what could be a very heavy push coming from Complexity.
Yeah, obviously does take on the sustained power of the Enchantress, and Luna one to typically build in some sort of life leech could also be a problem in the late game. And as you said, makes easy target when you got the Faceless Void to set up the Chrono for you. So I believe that means this is going to be Sumail on the Lina to match up in the mid lane.
Yes, looks that way. Unless Sumail is an Earth Spirit player now. No, they definitely want the Lina to get a lot of farm here. When you run the Void Core, you really need the highly leveled damage dealers to dump things into the Chrono.
So they need the Arteezy hero here. And do you think
he's been all over the place, hasn't he? Yeah, he's played the Venge, we've seen the OD, the Lone Druid. It has not felt like his patch so far, though. And I don't know if that's Arteezy or if it's more just the way the farm distribution is going right now, but it just feels a little uncomfortable for him. But what else is available?
Spectre, but not really good with the Faceless Void on your team. So you're talking range. Do you think he's a TB player? He might play Terrorblade.
Terrorblade could be good.
Terrorblade could be pretty good.
Complexity have, I'd say, decent control for the illusions, but not exceptional.
Oof.
And other options for Arteezy. Morphling has been all the rage if EG want to go.
Has started to appear more on the Western scene as well.
And, very good against Enchantress later on. Gives you, even in the lane, I think one of the better carries just because he has so much nuke damage. But he's not going to kill her, but at least he can throw out some decent harass early on. Goes well with the AA.
10 seconds remaining.
Decent with Chrono. I wouldn't say he's great. His range is not the best. And later on, he can just blast the Enchantress off the map.
Let's have a throwback and grab something like a Weaver. Oh, a Clinks! I've been seeing more Clinkses pop up. It's been working as a nice duo with the Faceless Void through the Chinese qualifier, and he's going to hit real hard and fast.
He also has the strafe is pretty nice against Untouchable. One of the better tools to somewhat counteract it anyway.
So there you have it. Complexity feels pretty damn driven to kind of be objective based. Is it looking like that kind of game where Viper is going to be building up a strong mid lane to grab the mech and good timing, and then it's time to 5-man kind of a game here? Or
definitely this draft wants to 5-man in the mid game for sure. They've got really good team fight. It is going to be hard once EG get their ults. So if you're Complexity, I think you're looking to take the objectives before EG get too farmed and leveled up. Ideally before the Chrono comes online, before the Ice Blast is available. And it is a what is that? Is that I guess that's a PPDH apparition. So he might find himself very underleveled this game.
I can't help but feel like it's a lot on fear for EG to will literally get the ball rolling here in the early game. He hasn't gotten an early Orb of Venom, but he is reserving the money for it, and instead takes the time to really go deep.
Shutting down the offlane Enchantress, eh?
Yep. All right.
I mean, we'll see how effective it is. Clix is probably one of the... He's a decent... Even though he's only physical damage, each arrow hits so hard that it somewhat makes up for it, I would say, against Enchantress with the Untouchable, but still not a great counter by any means.
And as soon as Z-Freak gets to that level 2, really anything becomes possible for them. It's almost the guaranteed torrent setup, a lot of lockdown time, and also a very helpful tool when going against like a Faceless Void who just tries to time walk away from trouble. So there's going to be a lot of catch potential. So I have a lot of... I'm going to be keeping a watchful eye on both Z-Freak and Fear. I feel like these 4 positioners are going to be very huge for the early game on both teams.
Yeah, I definitely think Complexity need to get off to a good start here, though. The nature of their draft, Viper is a hero that has to stay even or ahead. Luna, very squishy. If she falls behind, she's mincemeat for the EG burst damage from the Clinks and the Lena. So I think more pressure on Complexity to have the good start, but also a team that can really take advantage of it. They have great Roche potential with Enchantress to tank the Roche, Viper who can be the early mech builder, Luna gives the team a lot of damage to kill him. They're great at taking objectives. Look for Complexity to try to end this game by, if not end the game, then at least get full map control by 25 minutes and ideally break the base around 30, but that will not be easy against the EG Wombo combo.
Yeah, they have a good Wombo combo, and they do have potential for some good split pressure, that if Complexity are going to have the better 5-man in the mid game, at least they could try to stall things out a bit and pressure the side lanes. I don't know what kind of late game they're hoping to segue into at that point, but...
I've seen Limp get Midas a lot on Viper. Usually as well, not his first item, like he'll get like that one team fight item like the mech. But I have seen him try to take the Viper and I think Razor as well pretty late. He's kind of a disgusting player with his hero pool, you know?
Alright, they're already going to deward the camp. Swindle obviously going to be looking to scout it out. And once 30 seconds does come in, they'll realize that he will not have access to the camp here and will be forced to kind of take his business elsewhere, as his brother Z-Freak will kind of take hold of the lane. So he gets the bad news and will beeline it instead to the lane, and they'll work with the dual lane, it looks like, in the meantime. And for your mid lane matchup, the Lina Sumail going against Lip Viper. Can't help but feel like Viper is one to kind of take control of the lane, but this is Sumail after all, and even in matchups where it seems like he's going to be outweighed on paper, he always seems to, find his groove.
Honestly, the big thing for me is if Sumail actually gets a 1v1, because I feel like every time I've seen Sumail lately, teams are constantly pressuring him with the supports in the laning stage, and I wouldn't say he tilts necessarily, but he's just such a momentum-based player that, and he normally plays momentum-based heroes as well on top of that, that if you can slow him down early, it makes the mid-game much more manageable, whether I've seen it when he was playing Invoker and OD this tournament, so I think for Sumail, well, I was going to say, it looks like he gets a 1v1, but already the big bird is in here to mess up his day.
Just a bird, though. It could be a lot worse, but yeah, that tornado's a-coming right now.
It used to be this was the most annoying creep, but there have been new and disgusting creations added to the game since the...
You mean the tiny little purge creep that people are getting tickled about now? Have you heard about that?
The lightning creep, the purge creep,
3-second cooldown,
and the Hadouken
and
creep.
It lasts 5 seconds. 3-second cooldown, and it lasts 5 seconds. Can I just say that one more time? I mean...
How many times can he cast it in a row?
Up to 3. I only by 3 you should get the kill. But
by 3 they're going backwards.
I mean, they're like moving through molasses at that point. But I don't know. It seems a bit trendy, and obviously as big bottom lane. First rolling boulder will connect here onto Z-Freak, and he's going to try to get off the torrent, but they're easily going to be able to sidestep it, and it's going to be Arteezy who picks up the first blood for EG.
Yeah, so they do end up just sending the Enchantress to the jungle, Swindle trying to secure the other lanes for the team, and they leave the Kunkka there solo, but great initiation. EG identify it right away, and they are able to punish. They have that ward near the big camp, so not only have they blocked off Swindle's jungle, but they also know he's not in the neighborhood. Makes it very easy to go for that play.
Looks like Fear is, after participating with that kill, has picked up an Invis rune. He's heading towards the mid lane now. Viper not an easy mid laner takedown,
really
but
far
he is
forward.
very far forward.
Courier?
And a courier's coming. He even kicks him closer to the tower, so he's going to get the additional right clicks coming out, and that is plenty of damage with the help of the Dragon Slave. sumail picks that one up. I wanted to keep a watchful eye on Fear, and he is already off to a great quota, 2 kills at about 3 minutes in.
This is a big concern for Complexity. At this point, the laning stage going really poorly. The Enchantress has been shut down. They've given up first blood to the Clinks. Mid lane, which you look to at least be a wash, is now going to be very sumail favored after that kill. And generally, with the Earth Spirits, we have seen teams try to keep a ward up near the mid lane, but in that case, they had no vision of the bottom rune, and just a very fortunate time to get an Invisor. But like you said, great Earth Spirit play from Fear, showing off his versatility.
Iron Talon in order here for Universe, it looks like. He gets bullied back from the lane and will make his return to the fountain. So the one good thing going for coL is this top lane. Top of CS belongs to Lady Luna. 22 and 10 for him, but you have Arteezy with the kill on the other side and also a free lane to work with here. So
Enchantress heading back to the Radiant jungle. Is that a smoke? No, just a waltz down to the lane.
But she has a couple levels into untouchable now, so very difficult.
And if you notice, they tried to deward the camp and actually did not find the Radiant Observer ward, as Fear does catch out Limp here in the river, and the Viper almost goes down, forced to pop the Fairy Fire and the salve. That gets canceled. Fear keeps on chasing. He's going to go for this.
2 seconds, 1 second. If he can land it, he can get the kill. Not going to be able to sidestep it, and Fear lands it.
Man, game-winning Earth Spirit play.
The hero's going to get nerfed. I'm so sad. Have you seen? It's like nearly a 90% win rate now.
In your defense, Dakota, you were an Earth Spirit picker before.
Thank you.
He was in Captain's mode. I remember. You were one of the few people who actually knew what he did after the remake. Now everyone does, and it's ugly. But yeah, they did try to deward their pull camp bottom. Complexity ended up failing this one. And I mean, that to me has actually probably been the most pivotal thing this game, is that camp got warded uncontested by Fear. And it's one of the other nice things about Earth Spirit, is that you can just do that double roll early to get out to the drop wards really quickly, which we saw him do this game. Not something many other supports can do.
So where's Complexity's kill potential right now? I figured it might be something, fun with the Kunkka plus Lesh kind of setup. You got the Torrent X stun lockdown, but they haven't even been side by side at all. Obviously, Z-Freak has been, delegated this bottom lane while Swindle's been forced to step out. It looks like there might be some kill potential here. They just catch their opportunity to make a go on for the AA, and they are going to get it, but
they got to finish.
They don't get it. They don't get it yet. The creeps are going to have to dive in forward, and PPD is going to be able to participate and, in fact, get the kill on the Z-Freak. Eventually, Swindle will be able to bring him down, but he also gets dropped. It turns into a 2-for-1 with coL just hoping to just get an easy support grab. Fear to the rescue once more. Turns it right back around.
Yeah, you can see Clink's actually decent matchup for the Enchantress, especially when she's relatively low level. Very high damage per attack. Much better than having lots of small attacks. So it is now a level 3 untouchable, but Clink's is going to hit level 6, then they can give the Earth Spirit or the AA the safe lane. Probably the AA, I would guess, and like you said, Complexity don't really have the best kill potential. That's an issue when you let EG just get their levels in the safe lane on the AA, and then you're gonna have a really hard time pushing. Like, so they're in a lot of trouble here.
Hanskin is like a non-factor right now. I feel like he's trying to get an isolated pick for PPD, and with the assistance of Z-Freak could be able to do it. But once someone steps in who can hit pretty damn hard, Laguna could step forward, but it looks like he doesn't want to follow through as rotations come around. Universe, what level is Universe right now? He's got to be getting pretty close to... Oh, he's level 4, okay.
Is this how they normally run the Lesh, just as a safe lane support?
Yeah, I suppose. I know I've even used to see Swindle play. Lesh has been something always in the Rolodex, it seems, for Complexity, and I'm more familiar with seeing it on Swindle in the mid lane, so... In the recent pickups of a Lesh, I wasn't really sure what they're going to be doing with it, so the safe lane pickup is underwhelming thus far. But look at mid lane. They're going to get the jump onto sumail. Good grab from Swindle coming in from behind, but now Swindle, can he make it out with his life here? With the help of Untouchable and the Limp intercepting, it looks like they'll be good. It does pretty much force all of Complexity to get all hands on deck for this one takedown of Lina, but they're going to look to transition that into at least a tier 1 takedown.
That's good by Complexity. It is a big commitment just to get the one kill, but they get the kill in a mid, and they need to be striking now because they know as soon as the Chrono comes online, it gets harder to push. And the Chrono's very close for Universe. Got the Iron Talon. He's been farming top lane. And then on top of that, once the AA Ice Blast comes out, it's almost impossible to push in.
Kick, stun, and a Laguna. Still not enough to take down Chessie. He walks away with about 60 life.
they're going to go commit for the tower.
The glyph is out, the right click. Oh, it's going to go to the complexity side. Hanskin's going to be able to pick up that one. Another kick stun from Fear will catch Limp, but no one's going to be going down from this. So Complexity get away with their one pick on Sumail and their tier 1 drop.
I am a bit worried here about the levels on the Kunkka. Only level 3 at 8 minutes into the game. That is a support that needs his levels, especially with this draft. The boat is their... I would say the boat is their team fight. Like, yeah, you have Eclipse, that's not very reliable though, and until Kunkka gets level 6, it's gonna be... You're about to hit that wave where now the Chronosphere is online, Laguna can be used regularly for kills, Ice Blast still a little ways off. What's the level progression here on PPD? I think he's like level 4. Not sure.
Yeah, he's on the way.
Oh, he's showing on the level chart. I'm looking for him to click on him. now he's clicking.
He's got level 4. So, okay, Complexity find a bit of their groove here. Power Treads seems to be picked up for Swindle. And, you know, it hasn't been the mech pickup yet, but they already seem to be coming together. Now Swindle going to be caught out. There's the stun, the pull through silence. Arteezy going to work with the help of the huge hefty right click here, but that untouchable soaking up a lot of the attack speed. Now they're going to be pulling out the Nature's Attendants, and he's going to be able to make it away. Oh, Chrono going to be committed. Universe, I can't get the attack off, but they will be able to get the kill with Fear pulling out the Boulder Smash, and the right clicks come through from Arteezy, and they'll make it a twofer as they also bring down the Mighty Viper.
Click seems to be a pretty strong counter to the Enchantress, at least if she doesn't have a good start in the lane. She's getting destroyed.
Sumail, all right, up and into an Eclipse. Nicely done there from Chessie. Walks the lady home and puts her to bed.
Well, yeah. You're not kidding about that. So now they give the lane to the Ancient Apparition, and a Complexity need to keep the pressure on him, or ideally on the towers, before he gets to level 6. But PPD very close to it. So now things will get trickier. The Chrono still has quite a long cooldown at this stage of the game. No Aghanims or anything like that. So they can somewhat fight around the ultimate, but I think overall Complexity can't really be satisfied at this laning stage. They lost the mid lane. They've given up a ton of farm to Universe on the off lane Void. Or levels, more importantly, I guess. As well as great farm on the safe lane Clinks. And the AA has gotten his level 6 quickly. So EG in a fantastic position. A lineup that could have lost the lanes and still come back. For me, Complexity, they have to be really efficient with their rotations, go for good smoke ganks, and ideally fight around the cooldowns of EG, because fighting to head on into them is going to be very tough. And also, Kunkka needs to get his levels. He is still not level 6.
I mean, when coL made that early commitment to the Enchantress, you know, going against a team like EG, I'm sure they had plenty of experience with the Enchantress themselves, going up against it, scrimming with it, close connections to people like IX Mike. I'm sure he's like, I know firsthand what is a bad matchup for the Enchantress. So with so much drafting time to work with, they get the early counter to the camp, they get an appropriate pick like Clinks, and you know, it does slow the roll here for Complexity, but on the recovery path now, they pick up a tier 1 in the bottom lane as EG potentially eyeballing a trade here towards the middle. Complexity just looking to scrap together what economy they can for some of their, you know, starved supports who need to frantically get to the level 6 on their next item. It looks like Lesh is close to his. I'm sure Kunkka's getting closer to his.
Ice Blast and Chrono online. EG want to fight this.
Is under attack.
This is going to be tricky for Complexity.
Smoke, he's inching in. The first TP, he's going to make the committed jump. Looking to go for 2. Only going to grab Jesse, but he is the prime target here. Ice Blast also going to be on the mark. Time dilation already committed. Jesse gets off the 1 beam, but then won't be able to do anything else about it. Nature's Attendants looking to keep him back and alive, but Fair gets off a nice magnetize and chains it all through 3. Now can he keep the chain going? Drops a new one, but Jesse already out of the magnetize and alive and well. Jesse is fine, making the retreat out from trouble. Evil geniuses trying to make the mess of their big team fight. Now they're going to be able to isolate Limp, set up with the stun coming up from the Sumail LSA. Limp hiding and juking through the trees, but puts himself into a corner when the dust settles. Turns into a 3 for 2, a benefit for EG, but a hard-fought fight.
They almost got team wiped there. Did you see how close they were to dying? He dropped that last rock with the magnetize going, but it wasn't quite enough to kill off Chessie in the end. And Chessie going for this very early tanky build, and it was necessary. We saw it. Mid lane barely saved him having the treads and the Aquila, and now bottom, same thing with the drums. Still, you see how hard it is to fight into EG already, and now they get the Yule Scepter, more set up for the Lina, and just a lot of easy solo kills. The draft of EG is, I mean, I mentioned the Clinks being really good at dealing with the Enchantress. Obviously, Ice Blast and Laguna is great against him, and Frankly, I feel like a lot of this game is just coming down to EG having a game plan for the Enchantress, because so much of the way Complexity we're looking to play the draft really hinged on that. Viper is not a hero who's going to go around making plays. He's just going to kind of sit mid passively, at best break even. That didn't even happen. Luna maybe pushes down an early tower. So it was really at that point all on the Kunkka, but he's so under leveled. Finally has the boat now. And it will be an important component of their team fight as we see EG entry into the enemy woods. Still though, EG are very much in the driver's seat. They have the Clinks, Complexity, a lot of heroes that are either solo kills or at best can TP out before he kills them, but are still vulnerable and under pressure. So they're the team that wants to stick together, but you group up. You're going into this big EG team fight with the Chronosphere and the Ice Blast.
Looks like Complexity are going to be a team on a mission right now. They smoke and head right into EG territory. No close target, but now Universe... Oh man, Universe in a bad spot here. He's farming the camp, and Complexity
so hard to
just
kill him,
above the high ground. It is going to be tricky. Do they have the lockdown here?
You can see Complexity are just
not favorable.
not
creeps.
very
Only have his
confident
hand skin for a stun. So they move in. Lucid Beam will set up the stun. Eclipse committed on this, but Universe,
he's out of range.
He is gone, but they got the blink back with the help of the X there, and Limp will be able to get it.
He eclipsed, and then I think the whole team was blocking him. His hero was just kind of standing there out of range. That was awkward. Imagine if he lives there. I think Complexity might commit seppuku. But for EG, they lose the Void. He's mainly just there for the Chronosphere. They have so much damage from their other heroes. Great pick for Complexity, but it cost them a lot, and I mean, EG are getting enough off the map to make it worth it overall, I think, or at least an even trade, as they are aggressively pressuring the top lane.
I feel like EG know that their jungle is under control of Complexity, and that skirmish in the bottom lane, even though Complexity did fall a bit short, you know, their positioning was very good, and it might have been all because of that one ward they had pretty deep on the big camp, and they saw that TP coming in, and that's when they started to split apart. Made it very difficult for a Chrono to catch on multiple targets, made it difficult for Fear to get the most out of the, you know, refreshing the Magnetize with his stones, and once EG kind of got the gist of that, they've been finding new home in the upper half of this map.
And they end up getting a 2-for-1 tower trade. That is super worth it.
Oh yeah. Oh, Universe dishes out the Chrono and ends up putting it right into a boat. It's a stall tactic, it looks like here. Ice Blast is going to be a swing and a miss, it looks like. But Complexity will see the Chrono's down. Do they go right for the Roche now? Do they have Roche potential?
They have Roche potential, but they're a bit slow, I would say. With the Luna, you might be able to kill him. But the problem is, like, they don't have any minus armor for the Roshan. Their single target physical damage is so-so with the Luna. I would not say it's exceptional. I think it's still pretty risky. There's probably going to be an Ice Blast up before you actually finish him off.
Plus their top lane was pretty damn pressured, so the timing window doesn't seem to be appropriate right now.
Well, now that's a sad Bambi. BKB on the Clinks. Say goodbye to any survivability in the team fights. Enchantress is going to have her work cut out for her.
Yep. Throw the creeps in front and keep the nature's attendants out and pray here, but it ain't going to be easy. Lots of catch here for EG between the Faceless Void, the Earth Spirit now, and I want to see, can I see Fear's item progression? Is he just going
He's going Veil.
Veil, Blade Mail, man? Alright. It just gets the most out of just a one-and-done situation where you're just throwing your body into the fight, dropping your Magnetize, and you want to dish out as much as possible, so...
They smoked, they dropped the Sentry, they do see Arteezy. Can they get off a Viper Strike to start this one off? No, he's just going to walk away. Ice Blast does connect on 3.
Sumail's creeping, he's got Laguna. Itchy Trigger Finger here?
He could just quickly combo someone and back away. Swindle, if he's on the Intreads, might actually be killable.
It's Complexity now, just hoarded under their tower. EG happy to split between the pressure of both lanes. If they could find an opportunity maybe to make a committed jump on the mid lane while Complexity are split to defend this top lane.
They're waiting for the Chrono on the Void, and then I think we'll see them look for a fight at that point with the BKB. Plagues with BKB is really hard to deal with this game.
Sea Freak, caught into Yules, LSA, Dragon Slave, and with the Ice Blast and some right clicks, the Pirate will end up going down. Limp beats Ice Blast as well. Sumail. Oh man. Feeling frisky here. Oh, they get a catch on the Chessie, and Swindle with a beautiful Chrono setup from Universe. and that's going to lead to the fall of Jesse. And now, EG looking to make a backtrack here. Laguna going to be able to easily just annihilate the Leshrac. Fear gets off the Magnetize, it pops up onto 3, and Complexity going to be forced to potentially retreat out, but Limp gets the one target. X going to get the pullback here by the Yules. Nicely done from Sumail. Is going to get the cancel on it, and EG making away with their hands clean.
And they even bought back the Kunkka in that fight, so yeah. Big commitment there from Complexity for no return at all. This is just getting ugly. Complexity really needed a better laning stage, just based on the draft, and as soon as EG got their level 6 on the Void and the AA, it was always going to be tough for coL, and I just think EG have a solution for the Enchantress. They've clearly watched a lot of footage on it. Complexity have run it a lot this tournament, and I wonder if we'll see them shy away from it heading into Game 2.
Very intriguing how that ended up coming to be, that last little fight. They got an initial jump on the Z-Freak and took him out, and then Complexity looked like they wanted to see about flanking him, but I guess they didn't anticipate that all of EG were there on the high ground, and Universe got the vision to set up a beautiful chrono. And
yeah, they have no control over their own jungle. If you look at it, there's no tier 2 top, there's no dire wards there.
They've had control of EG's jungle, but ever since EG kind of are like, oh, we see that coL are taking residence there, we'll just go to their jungle. And
yeah, I mean, they have control of their own jungle, or the enemy jungle, and that's great, but if you're not fighting there, doesn't really matter if you have 3 wards up.
Yeah, and it seems like Complexity are more enticed to like do something about defending their own jungle here, or at least, you know, I guess they felt more confident that they would be taking team fights in it. So they learn a hard lesson with that last fight, and EG are going to be able to separate. They take more towers, they build up more farm. Veil now going to be done for this freaking Earth Spirit here.
Fear has had an incredible game. Hasn't had to do as much lately, but you know, he won all the lanes for them.
Dragon Lance on Clinks?
Huh.
That's a new one? I mean, eventually you can't split it apart. Oh, actually, some people say you split it for BKB, but I guess you're not splitting it for the BKB now unless you split it off for something else within... That's funky. I mean, hey, you get more range to work with a chrono, I guess.
S and Y Clinks.
Yeah, S and Y plus Butterfly later on.
Yeah, I mean... I guess it's really good with the chrono to have additional range, because it makes it easier to hit targets no matter what side of the chrono they're on, so maybe that's the reasoning. It's a fairly cheap item anyway, so generally you would see a Deso.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before.
Dragon Lance Clinks. Huh.
And after the BKB.
Yeah, like you said, you know, if you're disassembling it, it's one matter. You could work towards the Orchid, I guess, if you went that route as well, but I think not going for an Orchid at this point, he's probably not going to bother. Doesn't really need it, to be honest. I think you just go damage items next, Deso.
Alright, EG position themselves.
Oh, this is so hard to push if you're Complexity.
Look at Swindle though, he's been scouting out PPD here. Swings and misses with the first stump, but the Centaur connects with the second, so the jig may be up, and will coL kind of second guess their commitments for this tier 1? They are going to be dropping down the sentry. They are going to go into ward wars here, and they're going to be able to take down the high
Universe. He really wants that old time walk back.
It's a long range catcher.
Yeah, you can see he's just like, I can't quite reach them, but if I do the first time walk to get closer, they're just going to back away. I think he did say in a recent interview that he preferred the old Void. Much more solo kill and just initiation potential, but now you pretty much need a Blink Dagger in the mid game to get a good chrono off.
And as a...
Or a smoke.
Obs was showing, the Complexity have also that deep high ground ward, so they've been seeing EG kind of the formation they've been putting up behind this tier 1, and I guess the only chance that they want to take a fight
here
is
if they can, in front.
Yeah, if they could draw out EG into a position. They don't see Clinks, so they don't have a sentry on the ground, so they're going to go into position. They drop the sentry, but it's going to be too late. The Chronos are going to be coming out, and they're going to quickly take out Handskin. Laguna going to be happening here on the Chessie, and Chessie's going to be forced to pop into the Eclipse. Is it going to be enough? It takes down Sumail, and now retreats down the staircase to make it back in the way, but Arteezy on the prowl gets the connection with the Searing Arrow. Now they're going to be looking for Z-Freak. Z-Freak attempting to go. Gets the TP out. Yes, nicely stopped with the Torrent right there. And look at this, Universe on the backside. Looking to go for Swindle, but he can't quite right-click. Gets the time dilation off, but Swindle pulls out the TP and says, see you later. And unfortunately for Fear, that Boulder Smash just comes a hair too late.
Not too bad for Complexity. 2 for 2 in the end. Overall, I think that's a win for them, given how the game's been going. They don't manage to do anything to Arteezy. But at the same time, 2 for 2, they get the TP out. Very nice Torrent on the high ground there by the Kunkka. If he doesn't drop that, he might just get instantly kicked and stunned and then just die. So I think they actually played that really well considering their position.
Yeah, nice. Took the big bird away there from Swindle.
Swindle's not having fun this game. but he's done a decent job at staying relevant in terms of farm. Second in net worth on his team. The issue is just Clinks murders him in fights if he ever gets caught out. As well as Delina, actually.
Arteezy on the prowl here. Sees a pirate. He can't really be here alone, can he?
Speaking of
they
which,
also see Swindle. That's a Laguna. He's going to be popping off the heel. Meanwhile, Arteezy does get that kill onto Z-Free. Can they get his brother, Swindle? It looks like they can. They got the stun. They got the power. And that's a double kill.
And then a celebratory BKB. Woo! I got him, boys! Woohoo!
He thought that was probably the soul ring button, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Whoops.
Wow, Arteezy's so bad-mannered. Thought Charlie would have taught him better, Dakota. No, I'm sure it was a misclick. But they're in a position now where they don't. His BKB charges being high are not particularly relevant.
Fear stepping outside, not going the blade mail right away off the Veil, and he purchases a point booster. Could be just a trusty point booster for the extra, you know, HP and mana, but that means it's alluding to an Agnum Scepter here. I haven't seen Fear kind of play with the Enchant Remnant too much. We'll see what he can do with it. Plus you get the pullback, which is a huge thing.
I mean, based on what he did without it, I'm afraid of him Complexity. They're going double eggs, of course, and PPD, well, on his actually getting pretty good level progression here. Almost level 11 at 23 minutes.
And a Blink for Universe isn't quite the same as the old Void, but definitely we'll hold him over in the meantime. Definitely improves the initiation here for this Faceless Void, and we know how pungent they're.
They have such good initiation now. Blink as well as Time Walk on the Void. Obviously, Earth Spirit's initiation is absurd even before he gets the Enchant Remnant, and of course you also have the Lina with the Aether Lens Eul Scepter for some super long range setup.
Deep roll in from Fear, a hard commitment to try to get this Viper, knowing that they don't have a tier 1 to fall back on. Fear considering a pursuit here. Sumail on chase with Universe, who should have a blink soon, and they're going to get him. Nice catch with the Boulder Smash.
Look at their chasing potential. Jesus.
And
He started that like 2,000 units away. You got the Blink Aether Lens, the Earth Spirit who just runs you down from anywhere, Void with the double mobility skills.
that's just EG reading the map well. They see the vision that they own on the bottom. They see Complexity dancing around, and just by deduction figure the Viper's alone at the top lane, and they go hard in the paint for him. Now, feeling the potential drawback that maybe Complexity's doing this, but already Arteezy...
They can't kill him, he's got the BKB.
And, well, he doesn't get it off yet. Lucid Beam, now the Eclipse. Is he going to get it off? No, he's just dead.
Yeah, I think by the time he could have popped it, he was dead anyway. Well, really well played by Complexity. If he BKBs there, there's absolutely no way they kill him, but they completely chain stun him. They start off with the turret of all things, and are able to bring him down.
Now, really high tension around this Roche pit, though.
They still have Chrono, though.
Yeah, I don't think Complex can just... I mean, even though Arteezy's gone, it doesn't make things any easier for them, but they're going to look to go in there, man.
Oh, this is so risky. Ice Blast cooling down soon? How long do we have? Oh, it's up again.
Z-Freak waiting on the outside with the boat. There's Universe. The Chrono catches Swindle and Z-Freak. Z-Freak should be first to go down. The Pirate's out. And now Universe.
Ice Blast only hit one hero that was dead anyway, though, so this might actually be an opportunity for coL. They're going to move in on a PPD. He's very low, will be finished off. Swindle tanks the Laguna, though. The Magnetize going, and might be enough to kill him. Blink in from Universe is going to get the kill. Fear might be turned on Complexity. Best fight they've had all game, I would say, but is it enough?
So much damage from the Magnetize, and the follow-up's going to be coming through potentially. Sumail moves forward, trying to get a hold of it here. Arteezy trying to frantically get in the fight, and it looks like it just ends up being a 3-for-3.
That was without Arteezy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely the key thing there. Complexity, though, fighting really scrappily and keeping this a lot closer than you would have expected. But if there's a Clinks there with a BKB Deso, everyone in Complexity is dead for sure. And on top of that, Ice Blast just barely missed the Enchantress that fight, so she was able to survive much longer than anticipated. It wasn't the dream setup for EG, and they still tied 3-for-3 in the fight.
The Chrono only caught the two there on the outside. And look at this, Arteezy moves in. They pop out the Torrent.
Kanka's going for it.
Look at it, he's running in.
Oh.
Has the X.
That would have been a swag play by Z-Freak, but instead it might be a beat play.
Man, they end up using him up so he can't get the safety net back, and they will take the cherry on top of a kill for the support. Now Arteezy potentially stunned. Now we'll pop his BKB, and that will quickly be contagious.
Where's the team?
EG, not
Baby
quite
needs
there.
some help. Baby needs a bottle. Oh,
There's
he's
the
in a lot of
kick
trouble.
forward. Fear trying to help. Arteezy already goes down, but they are going to get the retort, taking down the Luna. And now Limp looking to go in. Targets out Fear. Fear rolls to the high ground to make it away, while PPD does get javelin down from Swindle Melons. Universe dives in between both. Dishes out the time dilation here, but Limp BKB'd. Now, kick, stun, connection onto Swindle. They dive in. They're going to be trying to bring him down, but that pesky Untouchable makes it so damn hard. Even a bubble being committed here. They're trying their damnedest to take him apart, and they finally will get it. Fear grabs it with the boulder smash on the top, and
That's some hate.
man.
It does show you how important it is to have a good game plan against Enchantress, though. Even with the very rough start, Swindle is getting to be scary when the Clinks with BKB isn't there, and if the Laguna's already been used. He's gonna have Ag soon,
Yeah.
but just so many tools for EG in these fights. It doesn't even feel like they need to have a perfect combo to take an engagement. And now another weapon in their arsenal. Lina getting the Ags.
Yeah, do you think now that...
Oh, Fear has his Ags too.
Yeah, this is a very heavy Ags game. So as of right now, it's EG can get away with not being able to set up the ideal, fight to lead things in, whether it be Chrono or Earth Spirit or what have you. But if coL are going to be able to creep in some farm, it might not come so easy. But man, it doesn't really feel like EG are up 10k of net worth right now.
We
I
haven't
guess with
seen
the towers and the roads.
We haven't seen them
everything.
all fight together.
Yeah.
The first Roche fight, Arteezy runs in the pit, gets chain stun, basically dies without doing anything. Then they Chrono and they Ice Blast, and they fought with 4. And the most recent Roche engagement, Limp,
has
gonna
the
get caught out.
Ags.
Is there a bash?
Canted Limp and kicked him back and got the kill. Hello, how you doing there? Agnum Scepter on the Earth Spirit. I was like, oh, he's kicked a stone, and then I realized the stone was actually the Viper. Oh man.
That's ugly. And the Viper really cannot stand up against that Aghanim ult from the Lina either. That took away like 2/3 of his health. Corrosive Skin, no more. But yeah, I don't think we've seen the full power of the EG team fight, which is where I'm still very worried if I'm Complexity.
Yeah.
I feel like Complexity have actually been playing above what you would expect for this draft in this position, and still at best it's even trades. And then in the Roche fight, when they got the Aegis, Arteezy died with the BKB being popped before his second life, almost immediately, and they still end up breaking even. So if they're all fighting together, it is going to be really hard for Complexity to take a fight. Enchantress has to stay alive. If she gets Laguna and dies off the bat, that's just the vast majority of their damage gone in the engagements. So not easy here for Complexity.
And with their lineup, I mean, can you afford to, as Z-Freak does get caught up with a Chrono, and a lot of hate for the guy. Kunkka does go down. We look at the Complexity lineup, they don't have the best high ground defense, so they pressure to take fights outside the base. I mean, they continue to dribble out here, even as a 4-man. They try to make a go. Hanskin quickly goes down. Now it's a 3-man here, and you see Arteezy BKB'd up, just happy to just pop shots right off on the Viper, takes him down, but Swindle has got the Agnums. One more long hit could do some serious work, and you can see Sumail even lose a chunk of his life. Looks like EG will reposition and go back for the tier 2, but Complexity seem to be very pushback right now. They don't want to have EG kind of come towards the high ground kind of a push, because I don't know if I would have a lot of confidence in the stopping them.
Yeah, I think for EG they don't feel any rush to end the game here. They're getting the Ag soon on the AA, as we see. That's a big pickup for the team. They can also just get free kills and then walk away. You saw it with the Boulder, or the Remnant earlier top on the Viper. We see it mid now, where they get a couple of kills and then just back off. Enchantress, if she's ignored through the Chrono and the Laguna, can outdamage most of these EG heroes, but the problem is they can also just run away from her and
Kick her out.
Yeah, Complexity don't really have that much control to set up compared to EG. Really, what do they have? Just the Kunkka, and he's dead very early in most of these fights.
So we'll see. As EG, who we know is already into the lower bracket of this playoff, and as secured as the game might look, want to play it as safe as possible here.
And it's a best of 3. I mean, Complexity, I think, have fought really well after the lightning stage. It was just the Enchantress getting shut down that put them in a hole early on, where their lineup wants to be playing from ahead. So, I mean, I continue to be very impressed by Complexity's, individual play and ability to execute in mid-game fights, but the nature of their draft is that you need to win the lanes, or at least break even, and then have really good rotations to take objectives early on.
Yeah. And it just trickles off from there. Enchantress, who typically would be able to get the early creep and early level 2, then go in the lane and be able to probably even hold it by herself, has no creep to go to, puts Kunkka in the lane, means Kunkka can't roam around, you know, and be proactive. You know, I figured with the draft at hand we'd see a lot of Lesh plus Kunkka action happening, but we didn't get any of it, and, you know, that's credit to EG on, you know, recognizing it and taking it to them early. Now we see coL on the offensive now. They're looking to take a tier 2 at the top lane while sumail split pressures down the mid. Fear with the long kick. They got to be careful. He rolls in, he grabs one of them, he could just kick him back towards the rest of the team. But it looks like Complexity not too worried about that at the moment. They'll get the tier 2 and walk away.
Pretty patient here from EG. They know if they botch a fight top, then Complexity might actually be able to break the base if they don't have to worry about the chrono. So Universe is going to hang on to it, play it safe, and now he's got the Aghanim Scepter, so now things get really tricky for coL. Every minute, just basically an automatic kill between the chrono, the Laguna Blade, the Ice Blast. So you can rinse and repeat every minute. So Complexity are always going to have to, I wouldn't even say sticking together saves you, but more just have good vision and be ready for potential ganks from EG. There's the Aghanims up on the AA, gonna make things a lot trickier for Complexity. No Luna lifesteal, no Enchantress heal. And here comes that smoke.
Yeah. Waited long enough here for EG. They have built up their economy. They have all the tools
they
and
might find
ammunition
Chesty.
they can ask for. Yeah, what's that Centaur doing there? Universe looking to investigate, spots out Limp. He's gonna dish out the chrono here. Now with the Ags, you can be a little more free with the chrono, but then again, by their perspective, they don't see where the rest of Complexity are, and
that's probably the worst hero to focus everything on. Even if you kill the Viper, that means that Swindle has no fear, because likely the Laguna and the chrono get used, and the Luna can still do a decent amount. So I think that's the right play from EG.
Now they will be the ones to smoke, and Swindle draws out the game plan here. A roundabout down and below. Arteezy shows himself in lane, and they're hoping to get the catch onto them. X catches Arteezy. Arteezy popped into the torrent here, but Universe moves right in, gets Hanskin and Swindle. Also the Ice Blast comes out. Both to fly on forward here. Arteezy still good, and already 2 going to be down from Complexity. Lose their Viper and their Lesh.
Fear making the saves happen again there with the Enchant Remnant. Very well done. Not done yet, though. They still want to fight this. I don't know, Complexity. They're in pretty far. Fear's looking for the punish. He rolls forward into 3. Swindle can turn with the... Oh, never mind. There's the boulder kick, but the Yule's comboed with it, so it doesn't quite connect, but doesn't really matter. Swindle just gets chunked down by the Clink. Next on the list is Z-Freak. That's 4.
EG are gonna
make it 5. And a gem.
Full 5-man white.
Yikes. Fear, again, just making plays all over the place on the Earth Spirit. And that's a Lina refresher at 35 minutes. My god, he is farmed.
Now EG could just wait out for this Roche to come up, if it's not already up, and grab the Aegis, and now begin to plot their high ground ascension, I guess.
I really like EG. I like their play a lot better when sumail gets help early and they secure his lane. I feel like, again, going back to what I said at the beginning of the game, he's just such a momentum-based player, and the heroes he plays snowball so hard that I think this is the ideal approach if they can draft so that they... Like, Universe doesn't need any help in the offlane. This game is void. They're never going to kill him unless he horribly overextends. And Clinks is quite independent as well once he has a decent start. So it freed up Fear to rotate on mid. And that first rotation, getting a kill on the Viper, who admittedly was pretty far forward, it just opens the game up a lot for EG from there. So I really would like to see them continue to prioritize giving sumail help early on, or... ensuring he's got a good matchup.
But do you also look at it from the other side of the coin and be like, you know, I guess with the situation Complexity are put in, they couldn't pressure sumail, but maybe in game number 2 they build around a draft where there are very little, you know, problems where they could still add pressure on the mid lane.
I mean, I guess in theory, if they had game plan for it, the Enchantress would have been the ideal hero to pressure mid, but they were intending to play it as a 3 position. You know, that's why it's on Swindle. And the decision to leave the Kunkka bottom was a reaction to the failed D-ward, rather than something they had really game planned for. So I think because of that, they weren't, you know, they were kind of thrown for a loop, and they had to make adjustments last minute, rather than up front being like, okay, you know, if this camp gets warded, Swindle is immediately going to go and try and gank the Lina or apply some pressure. So, again, credit to EG. Just to me, that's the pivotal thing. This game was shutting down the Enchantress off lane and forcing reactions from coL instead of letting her just be invincible bottom.
Jump into Chrono, plus, don't do 2 Lagunas. Come on.
Oh, Sumail!
Double Lagunas on the Luna.
Say that 5 times fast.
That was payback for that walk home Eclipse put to bed from earlier today, that's for sure. Sumail, emphatic destruction of the Luna.
I wouldn't say that's the most value you can get out of your refresher, but it sure looks sexy.
That was exciting. Now here comes EG. And also, Fear looking to finish out an Aether Lens, so...
His Earth Spirit is just so farmed, considering he spent 0 time farming.
I mean,
8, 3, and 15.
You get 2 kills at the start of the game, you know it's going to be a good time. Here he comes now. Who's going to kick out? He gets Swindle. He can't quite get the kick. There he goes. Woo! Way off down south. Get back here, little girl. They're going to round her up, hog tie her, put it down, and throw her on the grill. And now for the rest of Complexity, they start eating up the magnetized damage. They're going to be forced back. Long ball Laguna, barely going to be saved out from the mech, but then Universe will pick up what's left and actually not be able to finish off. Okay, Arteezy steps in, gets off the right click damage, and man, this Clinks can't sleep on him either. He just starts to go to work, and it looks like this will be EG's game number 1.
Yeah, coL probably just talking it over at this point. They know the end times have come. Chessie will pop the Eclipse, maybe gets a counter kill, but they've already lost their lane of Rax. That's just the Aegis down. Universe does have a time walk ready in just a moment if he wants to drop it. We'll jump away, and Arteezy right back in on the tier 4s. GG gets called. Really masterful handling of the Enchantress. That was very well done by EG. Fear's rotations were great. The overall decision making was solid. Just playing around the big ultimates as much as possible. I feel like EG drafted and played extremely well to handle. To be fair, something Complexity showed a lot of in the group stage. So EG, you know, PPD master of adaptation, clearly had a chance to do his homework, and he comes out hot.
Yeah, it's hard to like really go into a post-game analysis of it without just saying EG did everything right from top to bottom and got the game they wanted, and there were very little options for Complexity to try to break the mold of where the game was going and try to flip the script a bit unless EG were to throw. So now we just have to look forward and see what Complexity are going to do to kind of change things up for game number 2. I would imagine it starts with the draft. Maybe put the Enchantress on hold for now until you're going against a team that's more unfamiliar with it, or
like if you're going to run the Enchantress there after this game, they clearly need to protect the big camp or get the D ward, because that neither happened. They let EG ward it uncontested, Fear gets out freely, and then the D ward failed. So at that point,